David Bowie is an artist who seems to embody the characters he creates in his music. It's very fourth wall breaking because he almost becomes the people he makes in his music. Very few artists are able to do something as cool as this. Now, the characters he creates seem to be from album to album, or at least during periods of time. So the last period of time that I checked out a track of his was Space Odyssey. This is the first Oddity, I should say. It's the first track of David Bowie's I've reacted to on the channel, and this is in 1975, this track here, Young Americans. So it'll be cool to see if I can notice a change in the character he has created. And lastly, I just want to give a shout out to Ziggy for donating and suggesting for me to listen to this song. Big shout out to Ziggy, she's always supporting the channel. Other than that, hope you guys enjoy. Let's check this song out. Okay, here we go. This is Young Americans by David Bowie. If you do end up enjoying the video, hit me with a like, maybe share it with a friend, maybe leave an awesome comment because you might make the next video. And also, if you're new to the channel, subscribe and join our awesome community. Here we go. Interesting. Musically very different. Love the pianos on this one.
They pulled in just behind the bridge. He lays her down. He frowns. Gee, my life's a funny thing. Am I still too young? He kissed her then and there. She took his ring, took his babies. It took him minutes, took her nowhere. Heaven knows she'd have taken anything.
Wow. Very different. This almost sounds like soul music. Music from the church even. Okay, really interesting switch up musically. What I've noticed about both tracks is he likes to be a storyteller. He seems to be like a storyteller at heart. This seems to be another story he's playing out. This one is much more almost real and descriptive, whereas the last one was almost like a metaphor for him being high, Space Oddity. Musically, very different. The other one was guitar heavy. This one seems to be almost like a soul track, or like Southern inspired, American Southern inspired music, where there's lots of like church-like harmonies going on in the background. I always get the instruments wrong. I think that's a saxophone or a trumpet playing, so there's a horn section in this one. Very interesting, but it's just as rich musically. It's like a lot going on in the background. Oops, took it back too far. Here we go.
But she wants the young American, standing right through the picture window. She finds a slinky vagabond. He coughs as he passes the Ford Mustang. Heaven forbid she's taking the thing, but the freak and his title for nothing. This is a step and cuts his hand, showing nothing. It swoops like a song. She cries, where have all Papa's heroes gone? All night. She wants a young American. Young American. Young American. She wants the young American. All night. Well, she wants the young American. All the way from Washington. Her breadwinner begs off the bathroom floor. We live for just these 20 years. Do we have to die for the 50 more?
Okay, interesting. I'm trying to make sense of the song. I'm trying to follow along the story. It seems to be speaking about a lady's life who's kind of growing old. And she's kind of reliving her fun years, or at least trying to hold on to her youth by doing like kind of rebellious things. I think that's the story, right? They pulled in just behind the fridge. So she's having this like kind of sexual encounters with various different people. He kisses her, then she took his ring, took his babies. It took him minutes, took her nowhere, heaven knows. So she's like dealing with a married man, took his babies, probably means that this ended up getting the dude divorced and he lost his kids. Or it's like literally like a sexual thing, like, as in like, you know, I don't need to be too graphic here, but I think you guys know what that means. Then she has this a next encounter with like a vagabond. This is like a hitchhiker type of dude who is bit of a freak as well. So, and then in the third verse, I'm gonna guess is probably another sexual encounter too. So interesting story so far. Let's keep this going.
Alright, he wants the young American.
His voice seems to have switched up again as well. It didn't sound like this in the last track.
Do you remember your President Nixon? Do you remember the bills you have to pay, or even yesterday?
Interesting. There's like what's that effect called in funk music where they talk through a vocoder? Is that what that's called? And it changes the pitch and makes it sound like electronic. There's a lot of it used in G-funk music, like Dr. Dre uses it. California Love.
Have you been on America? Just you and your idol simple set so loud. Leather everywhere, and not a miss left from the ghetto. Well, would you carry your visa? Just in case of depression. Sit on your hands on the bus of survivors, blushing at all the Afro-sealers. Ain't that close to love? Well, ain't that close to love? Well, it ain't that far to door. Her heart's been broken just like you and all night. What the young American, young American, young American. All right, you want the young American. You ain't a pimp, you ain't a horse. A pimp's got a carry and a lady got a crash. Red's got the slag, white's got a soul train. Mama's got tramps and look at your handshake. I heard the news today, oh boy. I got a sweet and you got the beat.
That's a line from, I know that line. I heard the news today, oh boy. That is a Beatles track. See, my rock knowledge is increasing.
Is there a man who can say no more? Is there a woman I can suck on the jaw? Is there a child I can help with that judging? Is there a pen that will write before they die? Is you proud that you stuck our faces? Ain't there one dance song that can make me break down and cry?
Wow.
I want the young American. Young American. The young American. I want the young American. I want the young American. Young American. Young American. I want with you one. I want with you one. You want what I want you. You want I want you one. I want you.
Really interesting song. Okay. I've got some things to say about this one. Okay, David Bowie, man. Super interesting artist, man. Firstly, he sounds a lot different from the last track. To me, at least. He sounds a lot different. Musically, it's very different. He seems to have taken a lot from like southern like church music almost, it sounds like. He's got a lot of soul in this, so it's black influence too. He seems to be playing, I might be wrong about this, this is just my guess, is that he's playing almost like a journalist now, a reporter. And he's using the story of this lady, this young woman who's living out this rebellious lifestyle, or at least like you know, a kind of risque kind of lifestyle, to talk about the state of America. He uses her story to tell a broader story. He touches on things like poverty, race. There's a bunch of different things that come up through this lady's adventures. So this is very different from Space Oddity in that he was writing in a first person thing. This is happening to me. I'm shooting across across space and becoming lonelier and lonelier as I go further, which is probably about, you know, drug addiction. This is very different. This isn't happening to him. He seems to be speaking about someone else. So he's almost become a reporter now. Is that the new person he's embodying? And then lastly, I want to say, in terms of like actually liking the song, it's not my kind of music. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like Space Oddity a lot more. This one is a little bit more quirky to me in terms of musically. If a track doesn't have a great rhythmic side to it with a bass line, I don't always connect with it. And this was a bit, I don't know, lighter in a way. But as usual, it's Bowie who's the most interesting part of all his songs. Not even just his singing or his writing, it's just the fact that he's creating these stories and these people he embodies and becomes. Super cool. I'm always fascinated by Bowie. I just think he's a brilliant dude. Other than that, shout out to Ziggy. Thank you for your donation and suggesting this track. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.